Actually, I spent a lot of time studying this and going through it, and I did a Pastor Jim last night, and sleep was not something I got. But Lord willing, you get a blessing out of it. Lord willing, some people learn something. It might be something everyone already knows. But turn to your Bibles to Genesis. Pastor will be happy about this. Genesis. Genesis chapter 49. Genesis chapter 49. I mean, this chapter is loaded. It might not seem like it, but the deeper you dive into this is deep stuff here. And I got a blessing out of it, and I could have went a lot further. There's a lot here. We're going to start off verse 1, and I'm going to take you through the chapter, and I'm going to show you some things. Lord willing, you get a blessing. All right. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Now, folks, that takes you right all the way to the end. We're in Genesis, and he's talking about the last days. He's getting you into not something you would think you're getting in Genesis, but he's taking you in the Revelation, right there in your first verse towards the second to last chapter of Genesis. Verse 2, and actually, last days is the first time mentioned in your Bible right here in verse 1 here. It's the first time. Verse 2, gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and excellency of power, unstable as water. Thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch. Reuben, when you're saying unstable as water, okay, he's kind of not like John. He's not a reed shaking in the wind. He's more like a double-minded man. He lost his birthright pretty much by his sin. It was taken away. He doesn't have any kings in Israel. In Reuben, there's no kings. There's no priesthood. He doesn't get anything. He doesn't get established. Matter of fact, he loses out. His tribe actually shrinks. It actually gets smaller. You could go over to Numbers. Everyone loves this book, Numbers. Numbers chapter 1. Numbers chapter 1. Numbers chapter 1 and verse 21. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Reuben, were 46,500. All right, 46,000. All right, shoot over to chapter 26, same book, 26, verse 7. Numbers 26, verse 7. These are the families of the Reubenites, and they that were numbered of them were 43,730. It's starting to decline. There's 3,000 of them already gone. While all the other tribes were growing, Reuben's shrinking. He's not excelling. He's not getting better due to his sin. All right, go back to Genesis chapter 49. Verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren, Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into thy secret, unto their assembly mine honor. Be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. Everyone knows the Levites, they didn't have a land grant. They weren't given land. They were dispersed amongst the tribe. Yeah, they were the priests, but they didn't have an inheritance. They didn't have their own piece of land. Now, Simeon, he did. That tribe did. But in the end, Simeon loses it to Judah. He has to be put amongst Judah in Judah's land. Go over to Joshua chapter 19. Joshua 19, starting in verse 1. Joshua 19, verse 1. And the second lot came forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families. And their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Judah. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba, Sheba, Moldoah, and Harzashua, Bela, Azam, Eltalad, Bethel, Hormah, and Ziklag, Beth-Markarbeth, Hazarsua. Why'd I have to pick all these names, huh? Beth Lebaoth, Sherhun, 13 cities and their villages, and Remen and Ether, Ashen, 4 cities and their villages, and all the villages that were round about these cities to Baath Bear, Ramath of the south. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families. Out of the portion of the children of Judah was the inheritance of the children of Simeon, for the part of the children of Judah was too much for them. Therefore, the children of Simeon had their inheritance within the inheritance of them. So they were put in with Judah. Well, what's so important about Judah? Judah is the kingly tribe. They do have the lineage. Head back over to Genesis 49. Back to Genesis, starting on verse 8. Genesis 49, verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. And they do bow down before thee. They bow down before David. They bowed down before Solomon. Judah was in charge of everything. They were over everything. That was in the tribe of Judah. That's for Judah stepping in the place of Benjamin down in Egypt. When he takes the place, like, hey, Dad, I'm going down. Anything happens, it's on me. He takes the place of Benjamin. He's trusted by his father to take Benjamin. But Judah gets a lot of praise here. In verse 9, Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey, my son. You see that, my son? That's not Jacob talking anymore. That's God talking to his son. That's the Lord talking to Jesus right there. That's the only place in this whole chapter he says, my son. That's God inserting. And I got this from Dr. Ruckman. He said that's God literally inserting himself in that position right there. There's a comma that breaks both sides of that up. The Lord steps in there, my son, because that's who he was talking to. Thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. Now, the scepter, it stays in Judah, but there is a break. You know, Pastor, I remember Pastor talking about this particular person, and wasn't that long ago, but Coniah over there in go over to Jeremiah, or yeah, go over to Jeremiah 22. Jeremiah chapter 22, verses 24. Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 24. As I live, saith the Lord, though Coniah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, were a signet upon my right hand, yet would I pluck thee thence, and I will give thee into the hand of them that seek thy life, and into the hand of them whose face thou fearest, even into the hand of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, and into the hand of the Chaldeans. And I will cast thee out, and thy mother that bare thee, into another country, where you were not born, and there shall ye die. But to the land whereunto they desire to return, thither shall they not return. Is this man Coniah despised, broken, idle? Is he a vessel wherein is no pleasure? Wherefore are they cast out? He and his seed are cast into a land which they know not. O earth, O earth, 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 hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, write ye this man, childless, a man that shall not prosper in his days. For no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David and ruling any more in Judah. You know, yeah, the scepter stays in Judah. There'll be no other king other than what's in Judah, but it falls. You know, it's not just this continuous thing where this king just keeps rising up. You know, there's a break, but no one else gets the scepter. There's no other way. Judah has to have it. It has to fall in line. And of all things, that was another thing I learned from Dr. Ruckman, and I didn't even have his commentary on Genesis. I literally listened to a teaching of his on Genesis chapter 49. And I mean, it was loaded, but I thought I would have had more if I would have had his commentary. All right, let's head over to back to 49. Back to 49 and continue on, and verse number 10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh. Now that's not a place like everywhere else Shiloh is mentioned in the Bible. That's a person. And that Shiloh, do you know what Shiloh means? It means peace. Capital P, peace. You know who the Prince of Peace is? Prince of Peace. Go over to Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. Just if you don't know. Isaiah 9. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. We all know that's Jesus. Head over to Hebrews chapter 7. Too bad Nene's not here. Hebrews chapter 7. Verse 1. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace. Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest continually. Now we all know that Christ was not only king, but a priest. He was not of Levi, but neither was Melchizedek. All right, head back over to Genesis. I'm just going to keep going back and forth to Genesis, so just keep your spot there. The scepter shall not depart, verse 10, shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. What's he talking about there? He's going all the way to the first advent. He takes you right to the first advent right there. Go over to Matthew 21. and verse 5. 21 and verse 5. Tell your daughters of Zion, behold, the king cometh unto thee meek, and sitting upon an ass, and a colt the foal of an ass. Jesus Christ is, we know that this happened already. This is when he was first here, mentioned clear back all the way in Genesis 49. It was prophesied, Genesis 49. But the crazy thing is, yeah, that's what, 1,000 years away from when this happened. Christ came 1,500 years. I got 1689 BC. Okay, almost 2,000 years, 1,700 years. All right, binding his foal unto the vine and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. Semicolon. He washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. We just jumped to the second advent. Separated by a semicolon. Mess with the King James Bible. Mess with one little thing of the King James Bible, not even one letter, one little punctuation that separates two advents. A semicolon splits it. So it's a big deal to mess with the King James Bible because you're going to lose things just by taking a semicolon out. You mix that together, you ruined it. And you're clear back in Genesis talking about the second advent. You're talking about the first advent, jumping right to the second advent. They both have to happen. It's prophecy right there. They both have to take place. Head over to Isaiah 63. Isaiah 63. Isaiah 63, verses 1 through 3. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? That this that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. Go over to Revelation 14. You didn't realize this is Christ, and we're going all the way to the second advent. It gets bloody. Your king, the one that we love, the one that died for us first and loved us first, the one that came as a lamb. This is his lion part. He's coming back. He's resting as his lion, but he's going to wake up soon, and that lion's coming for blood. That when you think of a lamb, you don't think of a lamb wanting blood. Think of a lion, and you see that red. You watch them National Geographics, and you see that red beard from the blood stain. Because they had to tear up some flesh. Well, there's going to be blood when he comes. And like that wine press, he's going to be stomping blood out. Go over to Revelation 14. I got to get there. Revelation 14. I did a lot of page turning in my studies. 14, Revelation 14, verse 19. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space 1,600 furlongs. There'll be a lot of bloodshed. That peaceful lamb that they plucked his beard out, he's coming. He's coming to fix things. He's coming to make peace. But it's going to have to take blood first. He's going to show this world that he's real, because the further along we go, the less they think it's real, and the less they get away from this book, and the more that they put up this. And like I said, with the semicolon and that, it's a big deal, because just on Wednesday, Nicole showed us that they're making a Queen James Bible. It's on Amazon. It's for sale right now. You were here Wednesday night, you might have seen it. Nicole was showing us all the Queen James Bible. And it talks about the rumor that King James was gay, that, all people should be accepted. And that's like the reason behind these Bibles. And yet there's not one Bible out there translated by the same manuscripts as this one. Why do they all go off the other manuscripts? Why do they go off the Egyptian manuscripts? Why is it they're trying to trick people by calling the New King James Bible to say, hey, we just took these vowels out of it. We just made it easier for you. No, you didn't even use the same manuscript as this. You didn't do anything different. You did the exact same thing the NIV did. You didn't follow what the King James translators did. You went down and you did what Satan wanted you to do, and you deceived a bunch of other people with it, because that's what the other versions do. It's just the little things the devil does. It's just the little stumbling blocks. And you ever see what you could fall over? I mean, I've had blades of grass trip me up. It don't take much to make us fall down. We're walking on two legs. It doesn't take much. But in a Christian walk, it's those little things that matter. It's the little things, like Pastor preached last night up at Pastor Mike's. Take heed to the doctrine. The doctrine's important. And if you don't have the King James Bible, you're going to get your doctrine messed up, because it's those little things in there that you're going to miss, because they're not in there. They're taken out. They've been changed. It completely ruins all the doctrine. It spoils it all. Keep to the doctrine. Keep to the book, and don't let it get changed. I seen some things happen, and even recently now. But when I was lost, I had friends that used to go to Calvary. when I was in high school. And at the time, they used the King James Bible. That's what I think it was Pastor Winters. He stuck by the King James, even if he let people bring an NIV in, he still preached the King James from the pulpit. Well, I want to say it was around 96. They got rid of Pastor Winter. Pastor Winter was retiring, and they got a new pastor in. That new pastor, I think this was around 96. And I still remember it. Listen, I'm lost, but I remember this. And he comes in, he switches the Bible, he switches it to the NIV. Within 2 years, that pastor ran off with the woman Sunday school teacher, broke up 2 families. His family, the wife's family. Ran off with her, brought the NIV. Not even 30 years later, they're not even a Baptist church anymore. They're going to be bringing in people to teach kids about, oh, it's okay, you can be whatever you want to be. They're going to take out little kids. And it all started with something simple. We're going to change the book. We're going to take the NIV and we're going to bring it in here. We're going to slide this book in, and you just watch the things fall. And that church at one time probably was great. At one time, those men that left, was it Emmanuel? Left Manual, went up on the hill and built that. Actually knew one of the guys that built it. He was a bricklayer. And they're probably rolling in their grave. What's going to get preached at that place? And the kids that are going to get ruined. Well, we've had so many kids that were from this church that used to go to Awana there, took their kids to preschool there. And now you got this junk coming in that they're posting on the internet to say, this is what we believe. And they're going to ruin it. They've ruined what that is. But it's still, like I said, it's the little things that trip up these churches, and churches are falling all over the place. All right. Get off my little soapbox. Get back to the Bible here. All right. Go back to Genesis 49. Where was that? All right. His eyes, I'll go to verse 12. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Issachar is a strong ass couching down between 2 burdens. And he saw the rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Dan shall be a serpent. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path, that biteth the horse heel, so that this rider shall fall backwards. You know something about Dan? He's like a serpent. Is that anything good in the Bible? Not good. Neither him imitating a lion. We've got somebody that's going to want to imitate a lion, who is a serpent. Go over to Deuteronomy 33. Deuteronomy 33, verse 22. And of Dan, he said, Dan is a lion's whelp. He shall leap from Bashan. Folks, I don't know if you realize this, but Dan completely falls out. Go over to Revelation. Go over to Revelation chapter 7. Out of all the tribes, Dan's not listed here. Revelation chapter 7. Revelation 7, 4 through 8. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Nephilim were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. Dan's not there. He's not part of 144,000. The whole tribe getting kicked out. All right, head over to Judges. Go over to Judges, Judges 18. Dan, go to Judges 18, verse 30. And the children of Dan set up the graven image, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan until the day of the captivity of the land. And they set them up Micah's graven image, which he made all the time that the house of God was in Shiloh. He was an idolater. He went in, and Dan went, in this chapter, Dan went and stole Micah's ephod, I think it was. Went and stole his priest and his idols. Micah had his own priest, had the priest make him an idol. Dan found it and took it. Now, Dan was stuck in idolatry for over 600 years. You head over to 1 Kings. Head over to 1 Kings chapter 12. 1 Kings chapter 12. Sorry, I'm making you guys turn so much. Maybe you'll learn something. 1 Kings 12. 1 Kings 12 and 28 and 30. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other he put in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. They were all messed up. Dan was stuck in idolatry the whole way through. They couldn't get it right. You know who else didn't even solve the problem? One of my favorite guys. Go over to 2 Kings. Go over to 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 10. Pastor probably knows exactly where I'm going. Second Kings chapter 10, verse 25. And it came to pass, as soon as he made an end of offering, the burnt offering, that Jehu said to the guard and to the captains, go in and slay them, let none come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and the guard and the captains cast them out, and went to the city of the house of Baal. And they brought forth images out of the house of Baal and burned them. And they break down the image of Baal and break down the house of Baal and made it a draught house unto this day. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of Israel. Howbeit, from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, Jehu departed not from after them, to wit, the golden calves that were in Bethel and that were in Dan. And the Lord said unto Jehu, because thou hast done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes, and hast done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in mine heart, thy children of the fourth generation shall sit on the throne of Israel. But Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord, God of Israel, with all his heart, for he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Israel to sin. Folks, God doesn't like idolatry. Pastor just preached about it. I think it was on Wednesday night, about idolatry, that we still do put idols in front of us. We still have things that go before God and turn into idols, whether they be money, work, the things that go on in life. There's whatever we put in front of God becomes an idol. Anytime you put something between you and God, that's your idol, no matter what it is, whether it be your wife or husband or whatever it is. It blocks your way between you and God, turns into an idol. And we as Christians do that. Dan lost out because they couldn't get it right. I'm not saying you're not going to lose your salvation, but it's definitely going to hinder you if there's something between you and God. Your life can grow, your Christianity can grow if there's nothing between you and him, if it's a straight shot. All right, head back. My Bible just automatically opens to it because I've read there so much. All right. Verse 18. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher, his bread shall be fat. Out of Asher, his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well whose branches run over the wall. Then the archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Right there, the shepherd, first advent, the stone of Israel, second advent. A comma splits two advents right there. That's what it's talking about. Like I said, you mess with the book, you mess with a single comma, you mix the two up. But because that comma is there, you can clearly see your advents. Go over to, all right. Go over to Matthew chapter 21. Matthew chapter 21. Matthew 21, verses 42. Matthew 21, verse 42. Jesus saith unto them, did ye never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, the same has become the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing, and it is a marvelous in our eyes. Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken, but on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him to powder. We're not talking about a nice little shepherd right there, folks. You're talking about the lion again. You're getting back in, like I said, second advent. All right, moving on. Verse 25. Even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above blessings of the deep that lieth under blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors, unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf in the morning. He shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. You know, with Benjamin, you think about Benjamin, and there's three famous men that came out of Benjamin when you think. And I always like to tell the story. I teach it to the kids in the back because I don't know, I just like the story. Ehud with, his dagger, the left-handed. I brought a present for thee, O king. Saul, King Saul was from Benjamin. And one of your greatest Christians to ever live, the Apostle Paul, was from Benjamin. But yet, it was probably the smallest of all the tribes. But yet, God still used Benjamin and men through it. And ultimately, we got 13 books from a Benjamite. By the end of this chapter, folks, by the end of Jacob's deathbed prophecy, he's gone. When this is all said and done, verse 28, all these are the tribes of Israel, and this is it that their father spake unto them and blessed them, everyone according to his blessing. He blessed them. And he charged them and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephraim the Hittite, and the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephraim the Hittite for a possession of a burying place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife. And there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field of the cave that is therein was from the children of Heth. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed and yielded up the ghost and was gathered unto his people. At the end, you're done. Jacob finishes up. He puts it all out there. He gets all his business in order and he goes home. He finishes by prophesying to all his sons, and it goes all the way till the very end. God showed him the very end. He had already seen it. And that's all I had for a lot of stuff.